working on the guided practice. So we have one set of angles and another set of angles and one side. So we can automatically get rid of anything that has more than one side. So that means we're looking at angle, side, angle, or angle, angle, side. And then we need to look at our side. Is that side being made by those angles or not? It is being made by our angles, so we've got angle, side, angle. Number 2, we need to mark the line that is being shared. And we have a right angle, a second angle, and a shared side. So mark through everything that doesn't have two angles. And then we need to look and see if that side is being shared or not. Remember to look in one triangle, not in two. So we have two angles and the not shared side. So we have angle, angle, side. On our next one, we have right angles. We have one set of sides marked as congruent, and we have a second set of sides marked as congruent. So we have one angle, so we're going to get rid of everything that has more than one angle, or doesn't have an angle. Now, our angle is not being made by our sides. Do we have a right angle? Yes. Do we have a hypotenuse? Yes. Do we have another leg? Yes. So this is hypotenuse leg. Next one, we need to mark the side that's being shared. So we have one set of angles, set of sides, and another set of sides, the one that we marked. So you'll have one angle and two sides. We don't have a right angle. So is the angle being made by our sides? Yes, it is. So we have side, angle, side. Our next one, we have three sets of angles. And that is not one of our options. These are not congruent. Number 6, we need to mark our vertical angles. So we now have two sets of angles that are congruent and one set of sides. So we're going to mark through everything that has more or less than two angles. And then we need to look and see if that side is being made by those two angles or not. And in this case, it is being made by our two angles. So we have angle, side, angle. Our next one, we want to mark everything that was given to us and any extra information that we know is congruent. So the first one, we need to mark our vertical angles because we know those are congruent. We know that DE is congruent to EC. We know that BE is congruent to AE. So we've got a set of angles that are congruent, one set of sides, and a second set of sides. So this tells me that triangle DEB is congruent to triangle CEA. And we have two sides and the angle that's included, so it's by side, angle, side. Then we have point E is the midpoint of segment KW. Remember that midpoint means that that point is in the middle, and it makes the two sides congruent. So that tells us that KE is congruent to WE. We know that angle KEG, so this angle, is congruent to angle WEH, this angle, and angle K, this angle, is congruent to angle W, this one. So we have two sets of angles that are congruent and a set of sides that are congruent. So we have two angles and the included side. That means we have angle, side, angle, and triangle KEG is congruent to triangle WEH. On our next one, we know that segment NO is parallel to segment MP, so we can put arrows on them. We know that angle N and angle P are congruent. We know that segment MO is congruent to itself. Now this next one, we only have one set of parallel lines being intersected by our transversal, and our transversal is this line here, and these are our parallel lines. Notice that's a backward Z, so that means that this angle here and this one here are congruent. So we have two sets of angles and the side that's not included, so this means we have angle, angle, side, and that triangle MNO is congruent to triangle OPM. And then our last one, we have a hint that says to draw the triangles separately. We do have two triangles here. We have triangle PFS and we have triangle RPH. So I'm going to draw those two separately. Now we know that segment FP is congruent to segment PH or HP, and we know angle F is congruent to angle H. So right now we have one set of angles and one set of sides. Is there anything else that these triangles share? And look at the labeling. They both share P. So that means that that angle is congruent to itself. So we have two angles and the included side, and that gives us angle, side, angle. And triangle PFS is congruent to triangle PHR.